Have you ever pondered on the seemingly absurd notion of a world without the United States? A world without the stars and stripes, baseball or apple pie? A world where the phrase American dream is as foreign as the concept of a square circle. Sounds unthinkable, doesn't it? But hey, let's indulge in this thought experiment for a bit. Now, we're not going to erase the landmass that we know as the United States. Instead, we'll imagine it as a patchwork of smaller countries, each with its own culture, politics, and ambitions. Or perhaps it's a part of another existing country. The possibilities are endless, and each carries its own set of implications. Our aim in this video is not to present a definitive alternate reality, but rather to explore the potential ripple effects of such a drastic change in the world's geopolitical landscape. We're going to venture into the realms of the hypothetical, the speculative, and the downright bizarre, all while keeping a firm grasp on the realities of history, geopolitics, and economics. We'll focus on three main areas: geopolitical shifts, historical reverberations, and economic consequences. We'll look at how the balance of power might shift in a world without the US as a superpower. We'll delve into what historical events might have turned out differently, from major wars to the space race. And we'll also explore what the global economy might look like without the powerhouse that is the US. So buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey of imagination and speculation, one that's sure to challenge your perceptions and make you think. And remember, this is all in good fun. We're not trying to wish away our American friends or their contributions to the world. We're just playing a game of what if. So, without further ado, let's dive into this alternate reality. Prepare to journey into a world uncharted, a world without the United States. Let's start by peeling back the layers of geopolitical complexities. Imagine a world without the United States. It's like a game of chess where you suddenly remove the queen from the board. The balance of power would tilt, and the pieces would scramble to find new positions. Without the United States, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, would lose its key player. European nations, left to their own devices, would need to bolster their militaries and rethink their defense strategies. The dynamics between them and Russia would likely shift, potentially leading to a more dominant Russia in the European theater. Turning our gaze to the Far East, the absence of the United States might embolden China to expand its influence unchecked. Japan and South Korea, traditional allies of the US, would be left to fend for themselves. Would they rise to the occasion, or would they buckle under the pressure? In the Middle East, the United States has played a significant role from the Cold War era to the present day. Without American involvement, the power dynamics in this region could be drastically different. Israel, a long-standing ally of the US, might find itself isolated. Iran and Saudi Arabia, two regional powerhouses, could engage in a more direct competition for dominance closer to home. In the Americas, the absence of the United States could result in an unrivaled Latin American power. Would this be Brazil, with its vast resources and population? Or perhaps Mexico, positioned strategically next to the void left by the US? The world without the United States would not simply be our world minus one country. It would be a world with a completely different set of alliances, rivalries, and balance of power. It would be a world where history unfolded in a fundamentally different way. Without the United States, the global chessboard of power would undoubtedly look very different. There would be new kings and queens, rooks and knights, and the game of geopolitics would be played by a whole new set of rules. Now, let's delve into the annals of history and stir up the dust a bit. Picture a world where the United States never came to be. How would the tides of history have flowed then? Let's start with the World Wars. Without the United States' entry into the First World War, the balance of power could have tilted favorably towards the Central Powers. Germany may not have faced such harsh penalties in the Treaty of Versailles, potentially avoiding the economic despair that paved the way for the rise of Hitler in the Second World War as we know it. Speaking of the Second World War, without the United States, the Axis powers might have had a significantly higher chance of success. The Pacific Theater would likely have remained under Japanese control, while Europe could have become a stronghold for the Axis. Now, let's consider the Cold War. Without the United States as a counterbalance to the Soviet Union, it's possible that the world would have seen a far more extensive spread of communism. The space race might have been a one-horse race, with the Soviets possibly being the uncontested pioneers of space exploration. And what about the nuclear age? The United States played a crucial role in the development and proliferation of nuclear technology. Without the United States, the atomic age might have dawned differently, with potentially fewer nations possessing nuclear capabilities. The Middle East's history could also have unfolded in a dramatically different way. The United States' influence on the region, whether through direct intervention or alliances, has significantly shaped its modern history. Without this influence, the power dynamics of the region could be vastly different. In essence, without the United States, the world might have seen different victors and vanquished, different alliances, and different global power structures. The ripple effects of such a scenario are vast and far-reaching, affecting not only the course of wars, but also the everyday lives of people around the globe. History, as we know it, would have taken a dramatically different course. Next, let's navigate the treacherous waters of global economics. If the United States didn't exist, we'd be sailing in uncharted territory, and the global economy would be in for quite a ride. First off, let's talk about international currencies. Currently, the US dollar is the world's primary reserve currency. It's the go-to currency for central banks and international trade. But without the United States, we'd be saying goodbye to the mighty dollar. So, who steps up to the plate? The euro? The yen? Maybe Bitcoin finale has its moment in the sun. The balance of economic power shifts, and that's bound to create waves in the global economy. Now, imagine Wall Street gone. The New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, two of the world's largest stock exchanges, would vanish into thin air. The impact on global finance would be seismic. Investors around the globe would scramble to find new financial hubs. Maybe London, Hong Kong, or Tokyo would take center stage. Or perhaps we'd see the rise of new economic powerhouses. And let's not forget about trade agreements. The United States plays a pivotal role in shaping global trade policies. Without the US, would we see a more fragmented global trade system, or perhaps a more unified one under a different leader? Would China step up, or the European Union? The answers to these questions could redefine the economic landscape. We also have to consider the knock-on effects on global industries. US-based tech giants like Google, Apple, and Amazon shape our digital lives. But in this alternate universe, who leads the tech revolution? And what about Hollywood, the mecca of global entertainment? Who steps in to fill the void? Every economic action has a reaction. And in this case, the reactions would be monumental. The world's economies are so interconnected that the absence of the United States would ripple through every market, every industry, and every pocketbook. Without the United States, the financial heartbeat of the world would beat to a different rhythm. The rhythm might be unfamiliar, but it would be a fascinating beat to dance to, don't you think? Imagine a world without Hollywood, without jazz, without the Silicon Valley. Picturing such a scenario feels like gazing into a night sky devoid of stars. The United States, in its relatively short history, has become a cultural powerhouse, influencing and shaping the world in ways both subtle and profound. Without Hollywood, the global film industry would look drastically different. Hollywood has been the birthplace of countless cinematic masterpieces, setting the bar high for storytelling, special effects, and star power. The absence of this titan would leave a gaping void in global entertainment, altering the course of film history and perhaps leaving us in a world where the silver screen lacks the luster we've come to know and love. Now, let's talk about jazz, that uniquely American art form born out of the African American experience. Its soulful melodies and malleable rhythms have inspired countless musicians worldwide, reshaping the soundscape of the 20th century. Without jazz, we might not have seen the emergence of rock and roll, pop, or hip hop as we know them today. Our playlists would certainly sound a lot less diverse and vibrant. And then there's Silicon Valley, the global tech hub that has transformed our relationship with technology. Imagine a world without the likes of Google, Apple, or Facebook. The absence of these tech giants, along with countless startups that have revolutionized various industries, would mean a world less connected, less innovative, and possibly less advanced. The United States has undeniably been a cultural epicenter, a melting pot of ideas and innovations that have rippled across the globe. Its absence would not only rob the world of iconic cultural contributions, but also alter the trajectory of global innovation, leaving us in a world that is perhaps less colorful, less diverse, and less forward-thinking. So, as we ponder on this alternate reality, let's appreciate the cultural richness the United States has brought to our world. To quote the poet John Keats, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." Indeed, our cultural landscape would be significantly less vibrant without the United States. Now let's consider the butterfly effect of a world without the United States. The butterfly effect, a concept in chaos theory, suggests that small changes can have non-linear impacts on a complex system, like a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil, causing a tornado in Texas. The absence of the United States could ripple across the globe in unpredictable ways. Imagine the world as a massive web of interconnected events, actions, and outcomes. The United States, with its massive influence, sits at the heart of many of these connections. Take it out of the equation, and the web phrase shifts and reconfigures itself in ways we can't fully predict. Consider international politics. The United States has been a major player, influencing the balance of power, fostering alliances, and sometimes sparking conflicts. Without its presence, the dynamics of global politics would undoubtedly change. But how exactly is hard to say. Think about the world economy. The US dollar is the world's leading reserve currency, and Wall Street is a major financial hub. Without the United States, the global economic landscape would transform, but the specifics are uncertain. Ponder the cultural sphere. From Hollywood movies to fast food chains, American culture permeates the globe. Without the US, the world's cultural landscape would be different, but the precise contours of that change are unclear. Now remember that these are just the visible, direct impacts. The butterfly effect is all about the indirect, unforeseen consequences. The absence of the United States could lead to changes in areas we wouldn't even think to consider. Perhaps the global balance of power shifts in a way that prevents a major war. Maybe the absence of American consumerism slows the pace of global climate change, or maybe a world without Hollywood leads to a flowering of local film industries around the globe. The possibilities are endless, and the reality is that we can't fully predict the butterfly effect of a world without the United States. But one thing is clear. In an interconnected world, the absence of a single nation can send shockwaves across the globe. Imagine waking up in a world without the United States. Now, let's take a moment to truly grasp this scenario. We've talked about the geopolitical shifts, the historical reverberations, and the economic consequences. So, what could today look like without the United States? Well, first off, our global map would look drastically different. Without the United States, North America would be a patchwork of smaller nations, territories, and perhaps even unclaimed land. Canada and Mexico might stretch further, but would they be the powerhouses they are today without their influential neighbor? It's hard to say. On the global stage, the United Nations might have a different leading figure. The United States has always played a key role in this international organization, driving decisions and policies. Without the US, could the United Nations have the same influence? Now, let's talk technology. The United States has been a hotbed for technological innovation. From the birth of the internet to the rise of social media platforms, American companies have often been at the forefront. Without the United States, would we still be living in a world dominated by technology? Or would it look drastically different? And of course, there's the economy. The dollar is the world's leading reserve currency, playing a crucial role in international trade and global markets. Without the United States, what would be the world's leading currency? And how would that shift impact global trade? Culture, too, would be dramatically different. American movies, music, and TV shows have permeated societies around the globe. Without the United States, our popular culture might have a distinctly different flavor. Indeed, the impact of the United States extends far beyond its borders, shaping the world in countless ways, from geopolitics to economics, from technology to culture. The United States has left an indelible mark on our world. So, without the United States, our today would indeed look very different. We might not even recognize it. Our today would be unrecognizable without the United States. So, why engage in such a hypothetical exercise, you may ask? Well, let's dive into that. Hypothetical scenarios, such as the one we've just explored, a world without the United States, may seem like the stuff of science fiction or a whimsical daydream, but they serve a critical purpose. They allow us to understand the complexity and interconnectedness of our world. Imagine a colossal, intricate machine with countless gears and cogs, each one crucial to the overall operation. This is our world, a vast, complex system where each nation, each decision, and each event plays a significant role in shaping the course of history. By removing one gear, in our case, the United States, we can begin to appreciate the delicate balance that holds this global machine together. Hypotheticals also enable us to see the ripple effects of historical events. They're like a time traveler's tool, enabling us to rewind history, change one variable, and then hit play to see how the story unfolds differently. They help us appreciate the far-reaching impact of seemingly isolated events. Furthermore, such exercises in imagination challenge us to think critically about our current reality. They prompt us to question the status quo, to consider alternative possibilities, and to think about how different decisions could lead to different outcomes. They make us realize that our present is not inevitable, but the result of a series of choices and circumstances. In essence, hypothetical scenarios are a testament to the power of human imagination and our capacity to envision different realities. They remind us that we are not mere spectators in the theater of history, but active participants with the ability to shape its course. So, while the notion of a world without the United States may seem absurd, it's a thought experiment that offers valuable insights. It opens up a world of possibilities and invites us to question, to ponder, and to imagine. Hypotheticals, while seemingly absurd, can offer profound insights into our world. So, the next time you find yourself wondering, what if? Remember, you're not just daydreaming, you're engaging in a powerful exercise of imagination and insight. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this hypothetical world. Just imagine the possibilities. What would your world be like without the United States? It's a question that can stir up a tempest of ideas, theories, and heated debates. Perhaps you're envisioning a more peaceful world, or maybe a realm of chaos. Consider the geopolitical landscape. Would another nation have risen to superpower status in the absence of the United States? Picture Europe's borders, Asia's economic powerhouses, or Africa's emerging markets. Would they be the same or dramatically different? And what about history? Think about those pivotal moments. The World Wars, the Cold War, the space race. How would they have unfolded without the influence of the United States? Would we have walked on the moon? Would the Berlin Wall have fallen? Would we be living under the shadow of a different kind of Cold War? Now, let's talk about economics. The US dollar is a global currency, Wall Street a financial hub. Would another currency have taken its place? London, Hong Kong, or Tokyo as the new financial capital of the world, perhaps? And let's not forget culture. American music, movies, fashion, and fast food chains have permeated the globe. Would we be humming to a different tune, watching different films, wearing different clothes, or munching on something other than burgers and fries? The absence of the United States would ripple through every facet of our lives, creating a butterfly effect of unimaginable proportions. It's an intriguing thought experiment, isn't it? So, I challenge you to ponder this scenario and share your thoughts. What do you see when you picture a world without the United States? What changes? What remains the same? And what becomes unrecognizable? I'm genuinely curious and excited to hear your ideas and theories. Remember, there are no right or wrong answers here, just a fascinating exploration of a world that could have been. So, what's your take on a world without the United States? Don't be shy. Let's get this conversation started. As we wrap up this thought experiment, let's reflect on the role of the United States in our world. We've journeyed through a kaleidoscope of hypotheticals, painting a world drastically different to the one we know. A world, mind you, without apple pies, Hollywood, or even the internet as we know it. Can you imagine? We've explored the geopolitical shifts that might have occurred if the United States hadn't risen as a global power. The balance of power could have tilted towards Europe or Asia, possibly leading to a radically different global political landscape. The historical reverberations of such a change are immense, potentially altering the outcomes of both world wars, the Cold War, and even the space race. We've also delved into the economic consequences. Without the United States, the world might have missed the birthplace of numerous technological innovations and economic models. The global economic center of gravity could have shifted, leading to a vastly different economic order. And let's not forget the cultural implications. The global cultural landscape, from music to movies, from food to fashion, would have been starkly different without the influence of the United States. We've also looked at the butterfly effect, how even small changes can have significant impacts over time. The absence of the United States, a major player in global affairs, would have resulted in a cascade of changes rippling through every corner of the globe. This is not just about the United States. It's about understanding the impact of nations on global history, geopolitics, and economics. It's about appreciating the interconnectedness of our world and the profound effects of change in one part on the whole. This journey into the realm of hypotheticals is a testament to the power of curiosity and imagination. It's a reminder that we should continue questioning, continue exploring, and continue challenging our understanding of the world. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing explorations into the world of hypotheticals. Until next time, keep wondering.